piece in the tools. You were talking about before, there's a lot of knowledge on the floor here about longevity of the equipment. And you know, you said before it's just basically working, but one day it's going to stop working because everything ages, and film projectors have renowned for lasting for nearly forever.
I'm sorry, I'm having a very hard time hearing.
Can you hear me? I'm just talking about film projectors have a trait of lasting a very long time, but digital cinema projectors and digital players, etc., well, they do have a life expectancy. And you know, you said before that it just seems to all work, but it's going to fail at some stage. And there's a lot of experience on the floor here, and we just get some more feedback on what you expect, how long you expect this equipment to last. Especially when you consider, for example, you cannot put digital equipment in a cupboard for a year and expect it to work, because when you bring it out again, the security side will basically disarm the equipment, etc. So there's a lot of interesting aspects of the longevity of this equipment. Now, Series 1 equipment, when do you think that's going to be the end of that? And then in terms of Series 2, what sort of problems do you expect to start happening when they do start to fail? What sort of, how much more time can I squeeze out of them if I really take a lot of care of them and maintain them? And when do you think we'll need to turn over and start buying or replacing this equipment? So I'd like to get the panel to sort of respond to that sort of part of the equation.
Sure. I mean, I wish we had up on the panel, Mark or some of the trumpets, but I mean, Howard, do you, or I would say maybe on the panel, Howard or Drew, if you think you can answer that or respond a little bit, you guys are at least buying equipment, whereas I don't think that from the studio side, we're not in those conversations with manufacturers about equipment. But can you guys maybe take a stab at that?
Well, it's been performing, I think, pretty damn well, most people would say. The problems that we've had and that we were talking about earlier, we didn't say it, I don't think, clearly, but some of the stuff is sort of by our own making, because we're constantly trying to come up with a high frame rate solution, and we need to get out software upgrades very quickly, which pushes the envelope, and it's almost like we're having wet prints, even though they're digital wet prints, just rushing things out there. I think that the lifetime of the equipment, so far they've been performing pretty well. I don't think anyone's had a lot of...
It's like asking how long is a piece of string. I mean, we're all into this. It's kind of a new phase of our existence. So, it's like charting people's life expectancy from the 50s to do something or other. We won't know until we get there, I suppose, is what we're saying. I think almost everybody universally agrees they aren't going to last as long as 35 mil, which you could theoretically keep going for 100 years, and maybe some people have with some place. But the most immediate demands, going back to what we talked about earlier, I think are on the storage piece of things, and clearly, servers are not you're not going to use the same server throughout a 10-year life of the VPF deal. Where the projectors wind up will remains to be seen, but I agree with Howard. We are experiencing very, very good today, so that at least gives you reason for optimism that they may last a bit longer than some people might suspect.
I would just add to that, having been in the IT industry for the last 25, 30 years, these are computers, and I think a lot of it has to do with your integrator, or if you're integrating yourself, you've just got to make sure you have a good maintenance schedule on these. You can't just plug them in and forget about it. Any piece of equipment that you buy, you're going to make it last longer if you have a good maintenance schedule, you keep it clean of dust, and have it serviced. So if you have an integrator deal, make sure that your integrator is giving you regular service schedules. It's like any other piece of equipment, even your 35 mil. You've got to take care of it. These are computers, and they need care. So if you're sticking them in a cupboard or a closet, it will likely fail a lot sooner than you want it to.